Of course, the meaning of this was obvious. Moriarty had not been alone. A confederate, from a distance, had been witness to his friend's demise and my escape. It did not take long to think about it, Watson. I took to my heels and covered 10 miles over the mountains in the pending darkness. A week later, I found myself in Florence, with the certainty that no one in the world knew what had become of me. I had one confidant, my brother Mycroft. I had to confide in him in order to obtain the money I needed to live.
Of course.
I owe you many apologies, my dear Watson. But it was all important that it should be thought I was dead. And it is quite certain that you would not have written so convincing an account of my unhappy end had you yourself not thought that it was true. I have taken up my pen to write to you, but always I feared lest your affectionate regard might tempt you to some indiscretion which would betray my secret.
I would have thought I was as trustworthy as your brother.
Of course you are, Watson. But you have a kinder heart.
But what have you done all these long years?
Well, you may have read of the remarkable explorations of a Norwegian called Sigurdsson. But I'm sure it never occurred to you that you were receiving news of your friend. For 2 years, I traveled to Tibet and amused myself by visiting Lhasa and spending some time with the head lama. I then moved to Persia and paid a short but interesting visit to the Khalifa in Khartoum, the results of which I passed on to Lord Kitchener and the Foreign Office, anonymously, of course.
You mean you actually saw the palace where Gordon was murdered?
It was a sorry sight of ruin. His blood still upon the staircase. Lately, I've been in France, in Montpellier, researching into the coal tar derivatives. Then came the news of this remarkable murder, which not only appealed to me by its own merits, but which seemed to offer some most peculiar personal opportunities. So here I am.
Have you been to Beck Street?
Yes. I called there this morning in my own person. Mycroft had preserved my rooms and my papers exactly as they had always been. And so it was that I found myself in my old rooms, sitting in my old chair, and only wishing that I could have seen my dear friend Watson sitting in the other chair, which he has so often adored.
And so I hope I will be. What a remarkable story.
Are you still in possession of your army revolver?
Well, I think I have it somewhere.
See that you bring it with you tonight. But I have a piece of work for both of us, which, if we bring to a successful conclusion, will in itself justify a man's life on this planet.
I beg you to tell me about it.
You will see and hear enough before morning. Watson, may I occupy your couch for a few hours? The sea was exceedingly rough during the Channel crossing, and the prospect of seeing London again and an imminent encounter with one of Moriarty's confederates, plus the added pleasure of seeing my old friend Watson quite prohibited in sleep on the railway train.
My dear Holmes, please, my bedroom is at your disposal.
No, this will suit me very well. I've had harder beds than this in the past few years. Do you know where we are?
Surely that is Baker Street.
Exactly. We're in the empty house opposite our old quarters.
Why are we here?
Because it commands such an excellent view of that picturesque pile. Might I trouble you, Watson, to be so kind as to draw a little nearer to the window, taking every precaution not to reveal yourself, and then to look into our old rooms? Let us see whether 3 years of absence have entirely taken away my power to surprise you.
It's marvelous.
I trust that age does not wither our accustomed stale, my infinite variety. It is rather like me, is it not?
I should be prepared to swear it was you.
The construction is due to a Monsieur Oscar Meunier of Grenoble. The bust is in wax. The rest I arranged during my visit to Baker Street earlier.
But why?
Because I had the strongest possible reason for wishing certain people to believe that I was there when I was really elsewhere.
You thought the rooms were watched?
I knew they were being watched.
By whom?
By the one remaining member of that charming society whose leader lies in the Reichenbach Falls. Sooner or later, he believed that I would come back to my room, so he had them watched continuously. I was observed when I arrived this morning. I recognized the sentinel. Parker by name, a garrotter by trade, and a remarkable exponent upon a Jewish harp.
Now I understand the reason for the old bookseller.
I care not a jot about Parker, but I cared a great deal about the much more formidable person who was behind him. The bosom friend of Moriarty. That is the man who is after me tonight. And let us hope that he is also the man who is totally unaware that we are after him.
Holmes! Look! Just beyond the house. A couple of shady characters in the doorway.
Yes, I see them.
We shouldn't wait too long.
No.
Holmes. The shadow's moved.
Certainly it has moved. I involved Mrs. Hudson. We've been in this room 2 hours, and she has made some change in that figure 8 times, or once every hour.